I'm here to tell you that no matter who you are, sometimes things don't work out. Your decisions are not good ones, and you spend a lot of time trying to fix the mistakes. This video almost never got made because this art journal page almost ended up in the trash. But instead, I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So it started with a gel print that I had glued down on a page. I had done this weeks and weeks ago, and then inspiration left me, and it has been sitting around in my studio forever. So I decided, you know what? Let's just use it up today. See where this goes. I wanted to add some contrast. I grabbed some cardboard. This is open cardboard, and I was going to add the contrast with some black paint. But before I do that, I want to add some yellow paint. You see, there's the gel print didn't quite go to the end there, so it's all white. So I'm just grabbing some yellow paint and I'm just putting that color down just to even it out. Now, this actually worked. And as we go through this video, I'm going to tell you those points or those decisions that I think were wrong decisions, and then you can join me for the fix. I've done hundreds and hundreds of art journal pages, and yet sometimes you don't win. Sometimes it is a struggle. Just keep going. So I'm braying on some black paint onto the cardboard here and just stamping. This is adding contrast. It's knocking back that gel print. And at this point, in this minute, I like what I see in front of me. Now you can peel back one of the layers of the cardboard to reveal that rib look that you can use for a stamp, or you can buy that already peeled back. Now I'm just edging the page with some black acrylic paint because I have it and it's wet. I might do some more edging later on. I wanted to add more pattern, so I grabbed this stencil with these larger dots. Quadrangle Fan is the name of the stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and I'm putting white paint through this. I start out with white gesso, but it's not very opaque, and I switch up to Liquitex Basics white paint. It gives a much more opaque coverage, as you can see. So I'm liking the look here of the white dots with those circles that were in the gel print. At this point, I do not have an idea about the focal image. As soon as I get to a certain point in the background, I go searching for a focal image that goes with it. Sometimes I know which focal image and I build a background for it. That wasn't the case here. And I think that's part of my problem. I had too many ideas in my head and not enough clarity. Sometimes when you try to do too much or your brain is muddled, that's what shows up on the page. Now, here I wanted to add more contrast. So I grabbed the medium magenta, I think it is, and I'm going to stencil on. I thought this was going to do contrast, and here is the first big mistake. I'm not loving it right now. But instead of grabbing a baby wipe and wiping it off, which is what I should have done, I just continue on. And as I continue on, I'm disliking it more and more. Now you might say, well, I really like this. And you might. But this was where it veered from the picture in my head to something that I didn't like. But you know what? I've been around the block a few times. I know that if you just keep going, add another layer, sometimes that makes it okay. So that's what I do. Decided to add more black contrast. I grabbed one of my DIY stamps and I add contrast. And this does the trick. It knocks back some of that pink, adds the contrast of the black, and as a background, it's not bad. In fact, looking back, I wish I had left it here. I have many more mistakes that I'm going to share with you. And I share them so that you know it happens to all of us. It isn't just you. In fact, I've been struggling a lot ever since the passing of my father. There's been a lot going on, and it has affected my creative life as well. So I'm just going to give myself some grace and not worry. So I put the focal image here, and looking at this right now, I'm thinking that's where I should have left it. But I decided I wanted to give it some more weight. So I draw a circle on there and I'm going to paint this out with this Prussian blue. And instantly, when I put that Prussian blue on, what I thought was going to look good on there wasn't. So this was the second big mistake. The first one was the pink. This one was the next. I would have been so much happier if I had just glued my focal image down and my sentiment before I did this. This was too big. Now I used some bright aqua and I stenciled this holly onto the ball. Lost the footage. That's just the way the day went. And then I decided, well, I need to introduce that holly into the background. So I grabbed the Prussian blue and I'm putting that on. So this is an example of the next mistake in just doing too much. I should have just left it. You know, there's a saying that I love, and it says, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. So I want to learn what my mistakes are, trying to do too much, not having clarity, um, not trusting my instincts. You know, as soon as I put that pink down, I knew I didn't like it. Should have grabbed a baby wipe and wiped it off. So I'm adding that to the background, and it's really not doing much of anything. It's not adding contrast. It's not, and I'm wishing that I hadn't done it once again. Just giving this a little bit of shading to try to enhance this before I glue down my focal image. I'm just trying anything and everything to make this work. So there's my frog. This is from a napkin that I've glued onto uh, copy paper and cut out. And there's the saying, you've been mistletoed. I love that saying. And I think that was one of my mistakes. Because I wanted to use that saying, I forced the Christmas seasonal kind of thing. And I know that's holly, not mistletoe, but I think I was trying to force something that wasn't going to work. So I'm gluing this down with my fluid matte medium, thinking, okay, Karen, just finish the page. It was earlier on, I was like, you know what? I think maybe I'm just going to throw this out. And I could have, and you'd been no the wiser. But I do want you to know that it happens to all of us. Sometimes pages don't go according to plan. Sometimes we consider it a fail, and that's okay. Now I'm grabbing some green and yellow paint and I'm overpainting the frog, the toad here. I want to make this stand out a little bit and be a little bit brighter to stand up against that very much greenish background. There's a lot going on in the background, and this frog has to, or toad has to um, compete. So I just want to tweak those colors. So I'm putting some yellow and some green. I added some white gesso to his under his chin and his neck there, and then I'm painting it yellow. And actually, I like the overpainting that I've done on the napkin. Now I'm painting, the toes were pink, and I figure, okay, well, at least that ties in with the pink that's in the back. But by covering up, by painting out that big round ball there, I've knocked back a lot of that pink. But I'm not done yet. I've moved on, but I'm still not happy with the background. So I decide I'm going to reapply the white paint on those white dots. I liked it when they were more opaque white. I don't like some of the stuff that I've done in there, putting the holly in the background and those pink dots. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this will knock it back. And it did do that, right? You could always push back what's there to minimize the effect of it. Coat of gesso, a wash of gesso, or stenciling on top of it. And this worked. I'm still not in love with the background, but I'm happier with it now than I was previous. Docking back a little more of that pink to minimize its effect. Little shading around that ball to make it stand out. And then I'm adding shading on the frog now that it's dried up, just to make, again, I want it to stand out because it is the focal image. I grab my fine line bottle and I just want to add some white line work, sketchy lines around that ball just to make it work better. Again, I'm not 100% happy with it, so I keep trying different things. And at this point, it's, you know what? If you don't like it, you've got nothing to lose. It's paper and paint. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. But you've tried some things and maybe you've learned how to save something. Maybe you're successful. In and amongst admittedly some what I consider bad decisions or failed attempts here, there are some good decisions that I've made, things that have worked. So use those pages as a learning avenue. Then I decided I want to turn some of those white circles into yellow. So grab that stencil again and I turn some of them yellow. you know what? I kind of like that. It just picks up the yellow in the frog. And then I say, okay, I am done. I peel off the tape that keeps this gunk out of the coils, and I'm going to say I'm done. So it's been a wild ride, a bit of a dance, one step forward, two steps back. When that happens to you, don't give up. Keep moving forward. Tomorrow's another day to create. Until next time, go get creative.